Hello. Good to see you guys. So no one's here yet. I need to figure out how to actually share this thing. There we go. All right. There we go. Ah, what am I getting messages about? Not quite sure. So, dang guys, it has been a very busy week for me. I don't think anyone's here yet. So I'm just gonna hang out until people do show up. That's the nice thing about having multiple monitors. Oh, all right, someone has arrived. Welcome. So, this is a bit impromptu, but we figured we're getting close to what is going to be the biggest launch in our history, and it was probably time to do another one of these things. It's Jesus. It has been a crazy few weeks. A lot of work going on here. A lot of energy, a lot of ironing out the last details. It's been a madhouse, but every single day it feels like we're getting something new, someone else is signing on, something big is coming through. It's uh it's really nice to see all that hard work be rewarded. I'll say that it's been really cool seeing these proposals go through, seeing these partnerships get signed up. Now we have a very concrete idea of how much capital is going to be in Resonate at launch and exactly how much revenue that is going to translate into. So I am ready to go whenever you guys are. We we haven't talked in a while, so we got a fair bit of catching up to do. Somebody hit me with a question. I don't have any questions right now. It's an AMA. I can do a dev blog, that totally works. But I prefer to be answering questions rather than just talking. We're gonna have plenty of the dev blogs all on their own, and we're gonna be doing a lot of AMAs very soon. Like, I want to be able to have time during the wind up to launch to keep my finger on the pulse, make sure everyone's getting onboarded correctly, make sure that everything is ready to go, day zero. Soon, Nikolai, soon. But I also am probably going to be having to go to, like, I don't know, at least 5, maybe 10, 11, 12. I really don't know what the bound is. We're doing a lot of AMAs. There's a lot of announcements. You guys haven't heard any new partnerships in a very long time. There's a reason for that, and that is because we have learned when there's nothing to announce, when there's no product or immediate use to announce, it's not a good thing to just throw things out in the void, especially during the current market conditions. But I mean, yeah, like, you see these partnerships, you see partnership announcements, and this is a thing that a lot of crypto does. They announce these pointless partnerships that have no actual use case. They're just, we're working together. Maybe we'll produce something. And that works during the bull. But what I've learned as a founder is that there's no point in pointless hype. It doesn't do anything. So if you have a real partnership that is going to go somewhere, you play it close to your chest and you build up your portfolio of them. And then when you actually have a product, when you actually have a use case with that product, you let them fly. And we got a lot of those for you guys. Y'all saw some stuff. What was it? A few weeks back. Oh, I think it was last week, actually. It does not feel like last week, but last week with Spirit Swap and Maya DAO, you saw some of those proposals go through. We got more. We got partnerships that have not actually, had proposals that we needed to push through governance. And I mean, we've hinted at a few of them. Some of them, okay. I will say some of them will not be ready at launch. So there's one or two that we're still working the kinks out of, and those will be post-launch. probably a few weeks after. But I'd say a lion's share of stuff is already it's ready to go. We've got, and someone's going to have to correct me on this. I know that I'm going to botch it because the biz dev team is running so fast that I am barely keeping up with who we've signed on a daily basis. So I think it's 7. It might be 8 capital deployments. Let me pull up the stuff I've been sending to my friends. Of course, I can't tell you guys. I love y'all. You guys are the best. But if I told you on this live stream, that would just ruin the fun. That would ruin the surprise. And things have gotten pretty goblin town here in crypto. We're excited to actually be able to create some real. There's a real use case. There's a real product. There's a real market niche that we are filling, and we are going to explode this thing onto the scene in the next few weeks. I'm not giving you exact dates, not a chance. So sorry, Nikolai, I love you, but not happening. We can't nail it down publicly yet because this is software development, and if there's a bug in the web app, I'm not releasing the web app. That would be a bad idea. But soon, very soon, is the answer to that question. All right. Where's my list? All right. Somebody hit me with some more questions. Today, May, literally anything. I was wrong. It's not 7 is not the upper bound. I think now we're sitting at 8, potentially 9. So, and that is at launch, I will add. We're not talking about small amounts of money either. We are talking about, pretty significant test strips. Any impacts on Revest with the ETH merge? No, none. I was actually, I'm gonna be straight with you guys. I know devs. I was talking with one of the abracadabra guys the other day. He's telling me he stayed up until Jesus. He was like up until 3 or 4, watching the merge. Worried that it was going to mess up their system. I will admit, I wasn't even worried. I went to bed at 2, but that was for other reasons than the merge. That was because, well, we're in the lead up to Resonate. So I didn't think anything was going to go wrong because I had no reason to think anything was going to go wrong. And to be completely honest, if something had gone wrong with the merge, we wouldn't have been able to do a damn thing about it because everything that has to do with the merge is on chain, and that's the validators and formerly the miners problem. All of our systems are okay. All of our infrastructure, the stuff that shows the FNFTs, the web app, all of that is just it's agnostic. It works through our PCs. It uses view methods. It doesn't have to do any write to state stuff, right? So the very worst case scenario, if the merge had gone wrong for us, would have been, things stopped displaying properly for a few hours. So there are people who would have had some serious problems, I think, especially cross-chain stuff. Cross-chain can get really wonky, but we don't do that. So we were pretty low impact. The one thing, okay, and this, I was worried about this until very recently, but it still may be a problem. Here's the thing. There may be a huge issue with the proof of work chain that no one's talking about. And I'll explain. NFTs, and this could affect Revest but only if you are actively dumb. NFTs can be sold via signatures, right? When you go to OpenSea, I don't think OpenSea is on proof of work, but just random generic NFT marketplace, sure. If you go to a marketplace and you say, yeah, you can sign my NFT, you sign an EIP 712 message, I believe it is, that permits the marketplace to spin the NFT out of your wallet. Okay, that signature is supposed to be unique. And it's unique to the NFT's address. It's unique to the NFT's ID, right? Those are two unique things, the contract and the ID. And in theory, because you're deploying, even if you had you won't have the same contract on a different chain unless it's your contract, and even then it's pretty unusual because you probably wouldn't own the same ID on a different chain if the NFT was on both chains. But because they're forking the proof of work chain, the NFTs that you own on proof of work and the NFTs you own on proof of stake, real Ethereum, what we're on now, those are the same NFTs with the same contract address, the same ID, and your wallet is the same. All right. So if you use your existing wallet on proof of work because you're getting your free airdrop to sell your Bored Ape Yacht Club, and you sign that message, and that message does not include the chain ID, which a lot of legacy systems didn't because no one thought they needed to, in the hash, well, the signature that it'll generate and then put on chain will be a valid signature for both the proof of work chain and the proof of stake chain. What does that mean, you may be wondering? Well, that means that if you were to sell your Bored Ape Yacht Club for, 2 ETH on proof of work just because you wanted some free money, then I can take, or well, not I, but an exploiter can take that signature that you submitted on the proof of work chain. They can do what's called a replay attack, where they bring the signature over to the normal, mainnet, and they use that signature to buy that Bored Ape Yacht Club that you sold for 2 ETH on the proof of work chain because you thought it was free pocket money for 2 ETH on the main chain. This is a vector that is probably going to at least get some people. So yeah, don't sell your FNFTs on proof of work until you've transferred them to a new wallet. That's the fix. Yeah, that's the only potential impact the merge could have had on us, and it's a very indirect one, fortunately. So, good question. Somebody hit me with something else. Come on. You guys got nothing here? Ask me about what we're doing with Resonate. Ask me about how Resonate works. Do you actually understand it? Hold on. Close this door. Yeah. Okay. So let's get back to it. On against Premier Block Bytes. Oh, Jesus. I scheduled over them. I'm going to have to watch that later. Foo Bear, you're killing me. You guys should have told us when we scheduled this when we did. I didn't realize they were streaming today at 12. Yeah, that is a hard one to beat. So I literally just talked with Clay this week. They're doing some cool stuff at Block Bytes. I love those guys. Austin he's the man. I mean, I know a lot of you actually heard about us through him. So, Jesus, I'm going to have to catch the recording. All right. So, a real world example for Resonate. So, define real world. Do you mean just like how it works in crypto, or do you mean like applications to the real estate industry? Because we're not going after the real estate industry, but I can tell you how it works in crypto. Okay, use case. All right. So most of what we're targeting right now is DAO treasuries, but I'm going to go with the one that I think is the best way to explain it to just people who want to understand the core mechanism. And then we'll talk about the use cases. So imagine that you have Umami's vault, right? And I'll get into the DAO use cases in a sec, but this one it gives that understanding very well. If you have Umami's vault is paying out 20% over the course of a year, right? On USDC. That's a great yield. But Umami's vault, as we know, had some issues when it launched. So obviously there's risks that you take when you put your money into that vault and hope that you're going to get 20%. All right. You're not risking your principal. You're just risking that the yields might not be as high as you expect. And you will have, spent that time there and not have gotten what you wanted. So what you might do is, I, as an institutional investor who doesn't want to take interest rate risk, might say, okay, I will take this $100 and I will accept $10 upfront. I'll accept only a 10% return, not the promised 20%, a guaranteed 10%. So to me, that's valuable because, I have $10 right now, and that's a fixed yield. That is basically a CD. That's effectively a CD where you deposit and lock up value for a period of time. You get a guaranteed fairly high rate of return on it. Okay. So I, as an institutional investor, I love that. I take it. Meanwhile, the guy who's paying me the $10 up front, he is paying out $10 to get the rights to the interest on this $100 of USDC that's going into a mommy's vault. And he's betting that the vault performs better than 10%. And if it does, let's say that it performs perfectly, he gets 20% on that $100. So he paid out a $10 upfront payment, and by the end of the year, he has received $20. So that is 100% ROI on USDC that we can construct from Resonate. All right, let's get down to DAOs though. Let's take the example, I don't know, a hypothetical DAO on a hypothetical chain that's paying out in its chain token as a way to incentivize liquidity. I'm not going to name names because you probably already know who I'm talking about. But let's just say that there's a chain, they're giving out a lot of grants right now. So if we take the tokens from that chain that's giving out these grants, and we as a DAO have these tokens, we're supposed to use them to incentivize liquidity, and we want to. But we would also maybe like to get something back. So we have a pool, and it's our pool, and it's a stablecoin pool. We can take those tokens that we've been given to incentivize liquidity, and we can bribe people to enter our stablecoin pool on Resonate. Let's say the stablecoin pool is paying out 15%, right now. And because we're the DAO, we can pretty easily ensure that it continues to pay out that 15% over the course of the year. We can at least hit the average. Okay, so and 10, 15 is a little high, but we're just going to go with it. We take those chain tokens that we've been given to incentivize liquidity, and we put them out there, and we say, all right, hey, we want to, bribe people to enter this pool on our behalf, this stablecoin pool, by paying them these chain tokens. So people are like, okay, cool. I'd love to get 10% upfront on stable coins. And so we pay them in chain tokens, and they can turn around and sell those chain tokens pretty much immediately if they so desire, or they can hold on to them. Either one is a good option because they're effectively being able to buy, this risk-free upfront. It's a pretty good deal because just locking up stablecoins, get 10% returns in native tokens. Okay, cool, great. So they've got what they want, which is this guarantee. Meanwhile, we as the DAO, we pay out these chain tokens that we're going to have to pay out regardless. So we're happy to get rid of them. We get locked liquidity in our pool, our stablecoin pool, for a year. That's great. That's liquidity that isn't going to go anywhere else. Even the chain benefits, because that's liquidity that's locked into the chain. Okay. So we've got this guarantee. We're buffered against market fluctuations, and we now get the returns, the differential returns in stablecoins. And what that means is that we get the interest that the pool generates. We paid out, $10 worth of chain token. And in turn, we receive $15 worth of stable coins. So we have converted our chain tokens to stable coins at a 50% premium to us. We get 150% of what we spent. We did not lose money in this transaction at all. We kept our chain tokens. We didn't spend them. We converted them, sure. We converted them to stable coins. We can turn around and buy them back if we want at the end of this thing. And that means that we are able to basically trade time for money. Does that follow? I'm going to assume that is followed, Francesca. Not entirely sure. Okay, there we go. Good. I'm glad that that example made sense. I think you're kind of starting to see the power of this tool, I imagine, because it's got an awful lot of uses. Let me see if we have that chart up on our docs. Don't think, no, you can't screen share on YouTube, I'm afraid. But check out docs.resonate.finance. It should go into a lot of the use cases pretty in depth. Resonate is actually one of those things that you build it, and as you build it, you realize that you've created something that is a very general tool that has a high superset of uses. We're targeting niche use cases for it because that's how you run a startup. But when we along the way, we figured out, wait, this thing is actually a superset of all of these different protocols. You could actually replicate the function of something like Olympus using Resonate. You could replicate the function, technically, of Alchemix using Resonate. You can replicate the functionality of all these different protocols just by setting parameters in Resonate certain ways. It's really quite interesting once we started to drill down into it and realize, wait a second, we built this with this pretty niche application in mind, but because we set it up this way, it has all of these different business to consumer applications. It's a really cool realization. Hey, Mr. Todd, how you doing? Got some questions for me? That's why I'm here. I feel like we used to do these things all the time, these AMAs. It's just we've been very busy building. You guys are going to be seeing a lot of me pretty soon, so hopefully you don't get too tired. How am I directing Resonate? Oh, yes. So we have hired a new communications manager. You guys may remember Binko. He's been a member of our community for quite a while and a longtime supporter of Revest. And he showed up on my doorstep saying, hey, I've really enjoyed helping out. He's been helping out in various capacities, just, I guess, communication capacities. And he's like, I'd love to work for you. I'm like, I actually really could use a communications guy. Come on in. And he's been doing great work. We have a ton of, we're lining up the podcast. We have a fair number so far. People y'all will know. Yeah, we still have our friends. And we're also doing it through our partners. That's our big angle here is good influencer marketing. Sure, we've got friends. We're talking to them. Paid influencer marketing is trash right now. YouTube is a little bit dead, for lack of a better term. People finally caught on to the pump and dump operations, thank God. And the genuine YouTubers are, as I've noticed, a little burned out. I think Austin is probably the biggest game in town right now at Block Bites. So kudos to him. He did a great job. If I were to think about, YouTube is not what it was, but we're working with a few guys there. The big thing that we're doing is partnerships. And when I say that, the way we're structuring this is we have, it's around 30 now. We have around 30 lined up. I probably shouldn't be saying that, but I'm gonna say that. And we're going to be working with those guys, especially our capital deployment partners, on retweets, on AMAs, on general awareness of our system. With the capital deployment partners, it's an obvious match. They're very excited about the project. They understand how it works. They're psyched to see it in action. We've got recommitments lined up pending the success of the initial test strips. We have AMAs that we're scheduling with their communities and with our community so that we can get their community to understand the project as well and go use it. Because that's the thing about capital deployments is if the DAO is taking one side of it, it's a natural fit for their community to take the other side and come get that guaranteed upfront interest. That's the angle here. That's how we solve the bootstrapping question, is we get the big boy who's got this community full of people who love the token, love the project, and want to be as involved as they can. And then we bring them a new project through the DAO. So we're lining up these AMAs, these Twitter spaces, these Medium articles with these guys. And that's the big angle for our capital commitment partners, is getting in with their communities. With our marketing partners, and when I say marketing, that's probably the wrong term, yield farm partners, because the other type of partnership we have with Resonate is we are using you we're using your protocol as a provider of farms. Resonate needs farms to function on. So we've been building ERC 4626 adapters, all as a public good, I will add. And we are headed into working with some really well-known names as yield farms. So the way that works is that they gain additional sticky liquidity into their yield farm or their DEX, because DEXs are an angle as well. They get liquidity in there that is locked up. That's good for them because that's TVL and revenue that's not going anywhere. It can't just pull and run the minute the market turns sour. It's locked in for a year, or maybe not a year, maybe just a month, but it's still locked in there. So it's very advantageous to them in that way. And for us, it gives us a place to put that yield. So we go ahead and hold on, getting some spam in here. So we go ahead and what was I saying? Yeah, we go ahead and work with these guys on deploying our capital from these capital deployment partners into their yield farms. So they benefit from additional revenue, additional TVL, or capital partnerships benefit from this boosted yield or this decreased emission burn rate, and we benefit from revenue. So we have marketing set up with them where they're going to retweet us or retweet a medium or share it with their community, so that their communities also get to hear about Resonate. Since these are big players, they have very far reach. And that means that when we hit these angles day by day by day by day by day, it's going to turn up a lot of attention and a lot of interest. And I'm really excited to see where that goes. So that is the answer to your question, Francesco. All right. Next questions. Somebody hit me with something. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's going to be quite the event. We are very excited to roll this out to you guys. When does Resonate go live with the first big partner? Those are two different questions. When do we announce the first big partner? When do we go live? Two different questions, actually, because here's the thing. We have learned from the Velodrome guys. They know how to do a launch. The guys who did SolidX or whatever it was back in January, they also knew how to do a launch. It's about rollout. It's about build up. So you'll know is the answer. That is the answer. Lunch soon, as the old saying goes. So how does the actual storage mechanic work within the FNFTs? Okay. With the default system or with Resonate's system? Because those are two different storage mechanics. The long short is that we use EIP 1167 to perform create two operation. And that create two operation deploys a contract using a template on chain at moment of withdrawal. Well, actually, okay. So to make deposits with Revest, we don't even deploy the contract. We just send the value to a black hole, basically. We send it to a contract that doesn't exist yet because we can predict what address it will exist at in the future. Since we're using the FNFT's ID as the generation seed for that contract's address. Kind of like how if you use the same seed in Minecraft, you'll always get the same world. If you use the same FNFT ID, you'll always get the same contract. So we can predict where it'll live. And that means that we can take the value from the user, send it to that contract address where there's no contract, and it's just inaccessible, which makes it extremely difficult to steal that value because there's nothing to attack. So when we want to withdraw it, we deploy a contract at that address using the deployment method. And then we call the withdrawal function, transfer the value, and we call self-destruct on the contract so that there's nothing left at that address to attack. That is the self-destruct proxy schema, and that thing works great. We're not using the same exact schema for Resonate. Resonate does not have the self-destruct component because it turned out that it's actually cheaper to just deploy the contracts once, since everyone's going to be using them anyways. And that has rather than an FNFT by FNFT basis, that has a pool basis. So Resonate utilizes pools. We're going to have some tutorial videos coming out once the launch cycle begins. And those will be explaining, here's how you use Resonate, here's how Resonate works, here's, Resonate for X, Resonate for Y, that sort of thing. But when we talk about, what was I getting at here? We talk about how Resonate storage works. What we do is we have two wallets. We have a wallet that represents a pool and a wallet that represents so pools have two wallets, one for positions that are currently queued and one for positions that have been activated where the capital needs to be stored. We have ERC 4626 adapters that act as the intermediaries between the Yearn, Reaper, Beefy, whatever Yearn versions you want, whatever Aave versions you want, whatever. Who else is a really common yield farm? We don't have convex adapters yet, but it acts as the intermediary for those, right? It works as the thing that sits in the middle and allows 4626 to deposit back. Oh yeah, MasterChef. We got MasterChef as well. It acts as the thing that talks to those farms and then converts everything between them to 4626. So the steps go, everything is stored in separate wallets, which makes it harder to hack. Good things. And then the value is pulled back and forth between the pools whenever a user withdraws or deposits. That's the answer. Do I like Minecraft? Yes, actually, I love Minecraft. Great times. I cut my teeth coding in Minecraft. So that was back in 2011. Minecraft is actually literally how I found out about crypto. No joke. So coding-wise, I wrote a mod called Explosives Plus back in the day. You guys can Google it. Check it out. A lot of explosives. That was my first big entrepreneurship experience. I was in 11th grade, and I had really enjoyed Minecraft, so I decided to rip it apart using the very basic tools that were available at that time and start modding it. And I don't know, I've been doing a lot of, stuff on YouTube, just watching modders and watching mod showcases. And I started doing marketing for it. I ping-ponged back off against this guy exploding TNT for a while. That was how I really cut my teeth on using YouTube for marketing. Ended up getting on the Yogscast, Captain Sparkles, all that stuff. Made a fair bit of money off it too from the ad revenue. So yeah, modding was a lot of fun. Minecraft was a lot of fun. That's how I got into coding to begin with. Well, at least Java. That's how I got into Java. So after that, I started playing more on servers once I, I don't know, I won't say gotten bored, but once I got a little bored. I was playing on a libertarian server. It's called Civcraft. It's absolute nut house. But there was some guy on there, and he was talking about this new currency called Bitcoin. And yeah, that's how I found out about Bitcoin in late 2012 and why I bought my first Bitcoin in 2013 spring is because of Minecraft of all things. So go figure. It's a crazy world. One thing you're building virtual Legos. The next thing you're getting in the bottom floor of the greatest financial revolution of your lifetime. So is the Resonate token going to operate similarly to the Revest token, percent share of protocol income? Yep, it'll be operating very similar to Revest. I'm not sure our numbers yet. The Resonate token is a ways out. What's going to be launching soon is the product MVP. We learned from last time, best to focus on one at a time. Best to focus on one at a time. Go through the raise process, all those fun things slowly, and make sure that you've got a good product. That's the product first mentality. Is just if you don't have revenue, if you don't have product, what do you got? You used to play on Civcraft, Mr. Todd. I am actually very surprised to hear that. Was it Was it the one from Shotvo or was it the other one? Because I know that there were two servers named Civcraft, and one of them was a like a mini game, and the other one was probably one of the most dramatic things I've seen on the internet. It's pretty impressive amount of drama on that server. But yeah, revenue sharing will be coming out, not at launch for Resonate. You want that right now, go to Revest. And Resonate will have a pretty next-gen architecture actually for the tokenomics, for the rev share vault system. The way that'll work is that's going to be designed around a next-gen VE locker that I've already got the math worked out on. VE is great, except for the part where it automatically decays. That's the one thing I've heard from the people I talk to, is that having to relock their VE positions every week is annoying. And having to, roll up into convex if you want it done automatically, well, that takes away a lot of the choice. So what we're going to be doing is the next gen system for Resonate, this is planned, is going to be kind of a VE. It's going to have a constant lock power, and that lock will only begin to decay once you've triggered an unbonding system. So if you choose 4 years, you're locked forever until you click the button that says unbond. And once you clicked unbond, your position begins to decay for the next 4 years. If you want to relock, okay, you can relock at any time and go back to full power. You can upgrade to a higher tier. If you say 1 year, you want to get 2 years, you can do that easy. But basically, we looked at VE and said, okay, what's missing here? And the answer was a system like that. It took me 3 days to work out that math, by the way. VE is, I don't want to bloat the Curve guys' egos because they are inflated already, but it's a masterpiece. They did good work. Why use an NFT instead of an ERC? That is a good question, Crypto Boy. I'm happy to answer it. So, we've seen existing systems attempt to do what Resonate does. We've seen people like Element, Pendle, APY, Swivel. Those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. All right. They have points that they don't really work at. So several drawbacks. First off, it's very difficult to be able to claim the interest on a continuous basis. If you're the guy who gets the interest portion of that, you have an ERC20. So how do you claim that interest? How do you claim that interest whenever you want to? It's not intuitive. Generally, with these systems, you have to wait until the end of the period. The period is a set period of 6 months. That may not be the best for some protocols, but that's what they offer. And you have to wait until the very end. So already one drawback. Now let's talk about the other big problem, pricing. The actual commerce of this system. What we did with Resonate is we looked at, the problem. We said, okay, we could just separate the principal and interest into 2 different NFTs. That's easy. Or we could actually add a commerce layer on top of it that allows this automated trading schema that actually adds economic value. What things like Swivel, Pendle APY, and Element do is they separate the principal and the interest, and then they either have constructed a very complicated AMM system, or they have just left it up to X times Y equals K on Uniswap for how you sell these things. And that is the problem with them, is that the economic arrangement that Resonate powers doesn't work with these tokens because they don't know how to price things well. When you start trying to price an option, and that is what happens when you have an ERC20 that has a set maturity date in the future, every single day its value is changing as it gets closer to that maturity date. That's called that's theta. That's theta decay. And depending on positive or negative theta, it's either increasing value or decreasing value. So that makes finding what the going rate is a continuous rolling problem. If you try to do it with an AMM, you run into the problem of slippage. If you try to do it with an order book, your order book is no longer accurate a few days later because your order book can't account for theta decay. So what we've done is we've set it up so with Resonate, when you enter the pools, that's when the position becomes active. So basically, we came up with a way to make this process intuitive and actually easy to execute on without having to have a graduate level degree in mathematics. So that is why you would want to do it with an NFT instead of an ERC20. All right. Yep. So that's it. Rolling maturities is probably the one word that I would use. I would agree with that, Crypto Boy. Rolling maturities. That's the big understanding there. I don't remember. It was a lot of people in PvP. Mr. Todd, that could describe either one of those two Minecraft servers. Was it like Civilization? Because there was one that was basically a rip on Civilization. There was another one that was just anarchy. So I think we got about, looks like 5 more minutes before I got to go. But let's go ahead, close it up. Crypto Boy, let me ask you, did that answer your question, by the way? I always want to check because these are pretty technical explanations, and I do tend to lose people on them. Yeah, Mr. Todd, you actually were probably on the same one I was. That's crazy. Jesus. Small world. Very small world. That is so weird. I've actually had this conversation with a number of other devs about how they got started in development, and the pretty common answer is Minecraft. I don't know. I think it's something that happens with people around my age. Is that was the first reason they had to even bother with Java was Java's right there. Go crazy. One of the guys that I used to do modding with, he's also ended up in fintech somehow. So go figure. That name is ringing a bell. That is crazy, dude. That is serendipitous. Okay. I think that we are about out of time. If anyone has got one final question, we got time to answer it. Otherwise, you guys have a fantastic Friday afternoon. It's been great catching up, sharing a little bit with you. Not a lot. Still can't share a lot. But you'll be hearing a lot more in the next week or 2. Maybe 3. Who knows? Okay. Doesn't look like there's any final questions. So we will go ahead and wrap this one up. You guys have a fantastic weekend, and I'll be talking to you real soon. Take care.